Okay, 646. It is, and I'm probably not gonna talk about long because this morning we gotta do this. I'm gonna drive over to my uncle's and see him and pick up the family heirloom stuff. And he lives way out in the country, so I'm excited to go out to his place because I like rural. I swear to God, I can't even, with the intensity everywhere you go. Traffic, and toll roads. It's mental. And I had no idea about that, Crystal. What a trip. Like, I wonder if that's everywhere, if that's like a part of the treaty with the Indians or something. Like, I mean, they should have just not taken their fucking land. Like, make us have to pay to drive on it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, another thing too in this documentary, Kevin Costner's doing with about the Indians, is in the little commercial thing, the one says, when the people came over to start trying to change them, and she said they wanted them to stop, you know, dancing around fires and being nomadic and moving and, you know, being like connected to the earth. And but she said they told us to quit gambling. I was like, I didn't even know, like, I thought this gambling thing was a new thing. I thought that they had just started this casino thing. So I don't know. Were they all just a bunch of gamblers on the? Because they weren't even living on. I don't know. Maybe it's something taken out of context since it was just the commercial thing. But that threw me. Just like this toll road thing. Like, what the fuck? I'm paying toll roads. That's trippy. So, anyways, but everything keeps being so in line. Even this morning, I slept good last night. And in a bed. It was so comfortable. I didn't wake up with my shoulders hurting or anything. And when I woke up and laying there and I'm thinking, oh, do I want to get up yet? Do I want to just keep sleeping? It feels so cozy. And so I look over at the clock, 5:55. I was like, okay, I'm getting up. Because I wanted to get up and do this and stuff because everybody else is still asleep. So what's thinking? I already got up, took a shower, got my cup of tea. It tastes so good. And I've got my sister-in-law. I got her dandelion tea, but I don't know. She's I don't know. Maybe it's one thing when you're talking to somebody and they seem like they're being pushy and trying to control you and being resentful or whatever, and then it's another thing though when you go and you walk the walk or something. Like, I kept thinking, well, maybe if I'm around them and they see like how healthy I am, then it's going to be like, oh, it's not like she's just sitting over there talking about like, do this, do that, when she's not healthy at all. And I come in and it's like, dang, you're very damn healthy. And so then that makes it a little more interesting. Well, anyways, I'm thinking that. But but one thing I'm telling you that just keeps going and going, because whatever it was, I don't even remember because I don't have that good a recall on some things. Like, but whatever it was a few weeks ago before, you know, when I was when I was being resistant to going and, you know, replaying my attitude, replaying my focus, just looking at myself through that lens of looking back and being like, God. And that's one thing too, where you can go in on yourself, like, God, you're an idiot, God, you're a bitch, God, you're judgmental, God, you're hateful, God, you're the, you can go in on yourself. And you know, but then you have to acknowledge, well, you know, you're feeling rejected, you're feeling like nobody, it's triggering that, like, oh, you're a crazy person talking again. So, you know, you got to acknowledge your own triggers and not be hard on yourself when they activate. But then also, and to me, even when I started looking at it, it was like, oh, God, you could go dark on this. You could just be like, God, I'm such an idiot. God, I'm such an asshole. You can just go in on yourself and be totally mad, beat yourself down. But what is the point of it? Really, is way more of just the witnessing of yourself, just the acknowledgement, just the, oh, I noticed that about myself, man. Yeah, I do get a little raggedy. We've all got our raggedy side. And it can come up to the top. Oh, my sister-in-law was talking about something. yesterday, and I was like, yeah, that's good, because she was talking about something about like her healing and stuff, and she used to drink a lot, and she comes from a really hard background, and she in Germany, and she said that her mom got taken away when she was young, and they didn't do anything with her. They just left her. She just became a homeless kid, and so she had to start trying to make it, and that's a rough road to walk. Like any kid, homeless kids and shit that know, like, what you have to do to survive, and you don't have any guidance and stuff, so it's a rough life. And that's the thing, is, like, you do shit when you're a kid, and you don't know the consequences. You don't know, God, I gotta live with this. I gotta think about this. I gotta face this. I gotta see, like, this is in me. And so as you age and you adulthood, then, you start reevaluating yourself. And that's why it's, like, it's sad to see what's going on with some of these kids, and their parents are just misguiding them and shit. not not being interactive enough, not being the role model. That's, I think, the important thing about teaching kids isn't just like teaching them and this is how you do this. Like, we need to teach them how to read and write so they can communicate, but our communication can be changing a lot now. We may just slide right into telepathy, but the as long as we use reading and writing and in basic math, I mean, we don't need to be teaching our kids calculus and geometry, but teaching them how, like when my younger granddaughters, I've been a different person with each one. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say about my sister-in-law, because she said that she thought she was doing all this healing and stuff, and then something will happen, and it's the old Barb's back, and I was like, yeah, that's what, it's like, and there she is, she's back. And then you just notice, like, what brought her back? But it isn't like that part of you goes away. That part is you. It was just trying to find balance. And that part of you is the wounded part of you. That's not the part of you that you beat down, kick them while they're down, punch them out. Like, no, that's the part of you that you go like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what happened to you. It's making me cry. Oh, it's making me all emotional. My nose is going. I feel the water tearing up in my eyeballs. But anyways, that is the thing, is we got to learn to accept ourselves, love ourselves, be okay with who we are. And when we don't like, we just reevaluate, and you don't have to, make giant changes to be a different person. You just have to, like, it's like steering. It's just like, just find yourself all the time. Like, oh, I'm not comfortable, and pull yourself back. And don't, when you find yourself in your judgmental, hateful, bitter, or bitchy attitude or whatever, don't go in and start being like, just be like, oh, I got that side of me, and I can see it. Just came to the surface. Thank you for visiting. But you can go back now and just, find your center again. Find your balance. Go out and walk around the pond. Go hug a tree. Go reset yourself. Go walk around barefoot outside or something, and feel grass, smell some flowers. It's like that, changing the channel. Do something different. And you can find yourself in a different mood. That's the thing, you have control over your day because you have control over what you look at. Yeah, this is bothering me. I can sit and look at it all day long. I can beat it down and be upset. Or I can look over here and try and find something that is pleasant or whatever. And everything has a dark side and a light side. It's just the way it is. That's just like the universal law. Like, nothing is one thing. Even these, the dark, the Vamps, the Dracos, the Archons. The Archons are basically, they're basically emotion and sludge, the dark emotions. The dark emotions, like in a goo, a black goo of dark emotion. And that's how I look at them. I mean, they can take form or whatever. They can take on some kind of personality. I think they're lacking personality. Maybe they're trying to become like us by attaching to us or something, but in the vibration they're at, they can't ascend, they can't go up. But see, that's the thing, is we descend and then we ascend. So we go down to come up to ourselves. We go into this situation in the lower vibration to pull ourselves up out of it, to see what is it down here, and then pull yourself out of it, pull yourself out of it. And then, it's a trapping, though, because a lot of people get in it and then they get trapped in it and get into these things, hurting each other back and forth, killing each other back and forth, and all this stuff. So it's, but it's a game. It's a game, which I thought was really cool because, my sister-in-law, she's here with my brother all the time. Like, they're home now all the time, because they can't do a bunch of stuff. And, but she has an outlet. She has a group that she plays. I don't know, some kind of video game. I didn't know what she was talking about or something. She said, like, Warcraft or something. So, but they play in these big groups. So that's, a socializing thing. She has so much fun. She goes in, she's one of there's teams. So you go in these big teams and they play other teams. And I said, do you do a lot of shit talking? And she said, no, we're not allowed to talk. Only the master, the leader of your group is. But she said, oh yeah, they should talk. Shit talking. So I've just seen that. And my grandson, who is such a gamer, I would hear him all the time. Because they get in there and they start doing that gaming shit and they just start talking a bunch of shit. It's funny, really. But I was definitely way more of a, that's addictive. You gotta get off that shit. Don't play so much video games. Go outside, play basketball. I was always trying to get him to get out, and he's like, no, I'm good. I can sit here 10, 12 hours and play video games. I'm having a good time. But it's funny because it's like, it's all by perspective. It's all by, but there is like but I think as a parent or a grandparent, you gotta be like, oh, come on, you gotta go outside. You gotta go get some sunshine. You gotta get up out of that chair. But anyways, I just, I'm definitely learning a lot being around my mom and having that relationship. Like, it's one thing when you're a kid and you're in that relationship. Then when it flips over and you're an adult, it's adult, but they carry on the same kind of characteristics that triggered you when you were a child, and they are this person, and then, but it gives you a different view, because then you are like, that's what the thing is so many times my mom would say something to me, I'm just like, I don't start arguing with her, because she's carrying her wounds, we're all carrying our wounds, and they're all coming to the surface right now, because the earth is trying to get us to reevaluate. So I'm not going to kick some, but, I'm not going to fight, well, you dumbass, or anything of that shit. So I just, I was, but in my head, I'm thinking, my God, you do realize I'm an adult. I'm in my 60s. Like, it's just funny. But, I haven't been coming in and being like, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. No, but they were asking me some stuff, because since the last time they saw me, when I was here making the movie with my brother, which trips me out. It's like 7 or 8 years ago. I can't believe time is so fucking trippy. It's ever since the quarantine is when I really started, well, ever since my brain injury, time started being really weird. But man, it's so weird how much stuff happens and how time, I don't know, but so 7 or 8 years ago or whatever, when I was here. And that's when I was still with number 4, when I went to make Ghost Note. And at the time when I went, I was like, well, I was ready to split up. I was like, let's just take this. But see, confirmation, hold on. Because I was going to say, because that's where you get manipulative. I'll tell you in a sec. Hold on. Because so I was gonna leave, but really, for somebody who is desperate, it's a move. It's a move on the chessboard. It's like, I'm gonna go, you need to change. And then, as sometimes, that will trigger their abandonment, rejection issues. And so it will flip them into a whole new thing, where they can't keep in that. They're gonna go back to their regular patterns. They can't stay on the abandonment, because it will go back. As soon as you come back, they start feeling good and safe again, and then the shit starts creeping in, all their shit, their triggers and shit. So it's not like that's real. There is people who do, decide that they're going to make changes, but it's got to come from inside of them. It's got to be like, this is what I really want. And, but when you're in the game playing, like I was, so, I intended, when I said I want to split up, but it's like once you start going into it, and you start trying to divide shit, then it's like, oh, fuck. So, so I don't know. I know that when I was fed up, and I said, why don't we just count this as a separation when I go to Texas? And that triggered his abandonment and he had severe abandonment issues. His mom chose her husband, his dad was gone. He didn't ever even get to be around his dad or his dad's family or anything. Then she ends up marrying this other guy who beat him. And so, but the mom let him. She didn't ever stand up. And then when he got to be a teenager, he couldn't take it anymore. And so he told his mom, you're going to have to pick. I'm leaving, or you're going to have to make him leave because I can't take this anymore. I was just beating the shit out of him. And the mom said, I choose him. And the kid left. He was super devastated. He went to his friend's house. The stepdad shows up over there, tells him to come outside, beats the fuck out of him. And then the dad of the friend said, you're going to have to go. So he went to his grandparents and lived with them. And so, but that's some major rejection. Like, it was very big a part of him, and he didn't. And people don't want to face, they don't know how to face stuff, They don't know how to face all the emotional wounds and stuff that they carry. And they're all so associated with other lives and stuff. And that's the thing. These relationships are so much deeper than what people see in this three-dimensional reality. They're way more complex. And so, yeah, you got to be more, I don't know, we're making the shift. So things are going to be shifting, and it's going to get more where we talk about it. And people can figure, like, people are going to be doing a lot more healing. We're not going to be just stuffing it down, making it best of it, going, just drinking it away. Pop a couple pills, we're changing. So we're evolving. And so, anyways, so I was with him. I couldn't take his stuff. I just was like, man. And I can be mean. Like, he was, because he had told me, he's suicidal being around me. And I was, and I was like, when he was telling me that, I was like, what in the fuck? You're the one who causes all the motherfucking problems. Goddamn, you're drunk all the time doing shit. It's like, but I'm causing you to feel like you need to kill yourself. Like, Jesus Christ. But, as a narcissistic, when somebody's in pain and suffering, it's all about them. And it's where we call them, well, you're a narcissist. Well, they're really struggling to be alive. So, anyways, but when I left him, I was really close to my brain injury. It only been a few years. And I was, so I was close in my menopause era, after my body was having to readjust after removing all my fucking lady parts, which it just pisses me off that I've ever let them remove anything from me. And then and he drank all the time, and so I drank way more, and which I tried to have more of a handle on it, Like, I didn't just like, yeah, let's just drink ourselves blind every night. But, I just didn't have a glass of wine. It's like, how do you even deal with somebody who's just drunk off their ass unless you just, like, drink a little bit? So I was, I'm not shitting. It was one thing I've never understood with drunks, that they will, like, once you get to the point of being drunk, why do you keep drinking? Like, what? Why do you keep going? You already, like, nope, until I'm falling flat on my face, I'm gotta keep drinking. And it's like, what the fuck, man? So, as I went through a period of, having a glass of wine, then it got up to a bottle, and then I was like, fuck, man. So then I started going back to a glass, So anyways, I bounced around in there, but it was also during the time of like, oh, and women and they're drinking wine and have a glass of wine, everybody have wine, get it, it was like a fucking trend. I was even talking about this with my one daughter the other day, because it was like a trend to turn us all into alcoholics or something, to just all drink every day. So anyways, but I was like 25 pounds heavier, and so they haven't seen me since then. And so that's the last time they saw me. I was, I was drinking more. Like I had wine when I was even here, not even around him, because I was so used to having a glass of wine to go to bed. I was like, God, I gotta have a glass of wine to go to bed. And, yeah, I convinced myself. And even when I had talked to the doctor, they're like, yeah, you should have a glass. Because when I would get off work in the morning, that's when I would have a glass of wine so I could go to sleep. Because you were so wound up at the hospital, and you go home, and it's like, fuck, I've got a few hours to get to sleep. I gotta get to sleep. And so I'd have a glass of wine. And then, and I'd ask the doctor about it. And they were like, well, as long as it's only one, but you should, it's good. It will help you sleep and stuff. And so I got through that pattern. And then I got together with somebody who's drunk all the time. It's like, you start having more drinks. And so, but not, I did have some times where, I did, God damn, going with my friends, and they're like, oh, shots, shots, shots. And I try shots, and I'm like, I'm puking. So I did have some, drunken shit nights. So, I can't sit here and say, well, I've never. I don't know. I've had some falling down, puking, fights in bars, I've been there. So, anyways, what was I going to say? So, the last time they saw me, though, yeah, I was way different health status, way different. And so, yeah, and I was telling them, so they were asking me some stuff and stuff. I was telling them, and being out there in the cabin, that was being alone in isolation, at quarantine. It was like, I know there was a lot of people who had it happen and they went down deep, dark, and sad and felt sorry for themselves, but I didn't. And then the more I got in the groove, the more I enjoyed it. It was like, fuck, being alone's pretty cool. It's like, because I go deep in here, and when I'm around people, they're always talking, and I did tell them, because a lot of people don't know, because when I talked about it when I was a kid, a lot of people don't remember that I've been talking about these people that talked to me. And then as people started like listening more, they're like, what, your thoughts? It's like, well, my thoughts don't know how to tell me things I don't know, right? They're telling me things I don't know. And so anyways, I did talk about that yesterday. So I did say, that I had guidance from, the time I was a kid. So I talked to them. And then, and I get real in my head talking to them. And so then when I get around people, it's like, I don't know. I kind of look at it. That's how I kind of started seeing, like, with the autistic people and stuff, where I started being like, oh, they're just in a different place. They're in a different state of consciousness. They're not broken. Like, their body's being affected by the chemicals and this atmosphere or whatever. But also, I cannot fucking believe the spray in here. We went yesterday to go to the store and do some stuff, and I was out in the car, and I was like, what in the holy hell? They were just spraying. Oh, my God. And no, well, I mean, there's probably some people who pay attention, but when everybody in the car is just talking and stuff, and I'm sitting there staring like, oh, my God. And this one little girl, she's sitting next to me, and she's like, yeah, I just been really sick with this. And she's telling me all her symptoms, and I'm just like, yeah, well, look up there. That's what you got, the sickness, the sky sickness. But I couldn't take my eyes off some of the parts. I was like, that is different skies. Like that, what the hell is that over there? And then this, it is like, I see different skies. Like over by me, over by here, and I just see that as like our atmosphere. Like things are changing. This is all these realities merging, these different energies. And just look in the micro macro of all of us and our different energies. And it's all this shuffling and this merging and stuff. But it's like in the chaos, it's like in the storm, but then there's going to be a hit, and then there's going to be an aftermath. So we haven't had the hit yet. It's going to just knock everybody silly. Oh yeah, this was a thing too. Because everybody, I mean, I've told you guys, like, I was liberal my whole time. And I come from a very liberal family. My mom was conservative. And we all looked at her like, you know, because she's a church lady and stuff. So we just looked at her as like, you know, Republican and Christian, you know. And we always just kind of all looked at it as like control and rules and stuff like that. But so, and I have a big family. And so we, so anyways, yes, everybody, oh God, that Donald, fucking asshole, can you believe that, you know, son of a bitch? And I was just like, well, you know, so I like him too. And because they were saying, yeah, I think mom still likes him and stuff. Because they all, I don't know what everybody's media is saying to them, but they all believe that this Holocaust and all this stuff is going on. A whole bunch of bad stuff. And they believe he's doing it. So their news is telling them all of this stuff. So it's not just like complete crazy. They're being misled. And that's I think my hair should fall fucking out. So they're being misled, you know. So, you know, I'm not going to argue and fight because I've been there. And so, but sometimes you say something and then, yeah, everybody jumps on you, but nobody did. They were just like, ugh, you like him? I was like, well, you know, I mean, I was around when they took away Made in America, and everything got made somewhere else, and now he's bringing it back. So, but if he brings that shit back, hell yeah. But there's more. But, you know, you can't just go through the whole thing. I tried to tell him about the money reversal and stuff like that. But that's the thing that's got to play out. That's the things that the people have got to see for themselves. And that's the part that's going to make them see things through a different lens, to make them see what they did not see before. You can't sit there and just chip away at their lens and drive them crazy like, you woodpecking bitch, get the fuck out of here. So I would, it's just like, okay, you know, so but I felt like I had to stand in my own truth and say, well, yeah, I like them. And, so anyways, but they're all just like, what? I think, brother doesn't remember because we had already argued about it years ago. But anyways, I mean, he may remember, but there's a lot of stuff because that's, you know, I mean, he's way fresher in his brain injury and he's still fighting the battle. And so I haven't been on the, oh, we're going to try this. The only thing I've told him to try is the mind. I said, start spending like 5 or 10 minutes a day and close your eyes and picture inside your brain. Picture the stuff. I said, picture something, someone, or whatever you want to. I mean, somebody can come in and vacuum in your brain, and they're vacuuming it out. They can come in with a hammer and a chisel. They're hammering and chiseling it out, and you're watching them, and they're removing it. They're removing all of the stuff out of there that's causing you issues, and you feed that energy and you keep looking at it. I said, it works. It works. It's working for people. And so he's like, oh, okay. Okay, well, I'll try. But he's really forgetful. So, but, you know, hopefully just kind of that energy, like I said, like you leave an energy imprint. So hopefully, you know, my echo, my voice stays here after I'm gone. My energy will be here. And so it won't, I won't be taking all my energy with me. I'll be leaving some, so it will still be talking to him, like, even though that sounds weird, but that's the way it works. And so, and I am going to, the one little video that I had shared on the comments the other day, I'm going to send that one to her, because she is a lot, to my sister-in-law, because she's a lot more like last night I came in and brought up some kombucha and I'm drinking it, and my brother's like, what are you drinking? I said, have some, drink some. And he smelled it and he's like, oh no. And my sister-in-law's like, well, what is that? And so I told her, and so she's, oh, ferment, because she's German, so she's into fermenting and stuff like that. She's telling me how to make sauerkraut, which all you do is cut up the cabbage, you pour salt on it, and then it just does the whole thing yourself. You don't have to do anything else. And so, but it takes a while, and it's real stinky. She said it smells really bad. It'll make the whole house smell. And so but she is into fermenting and she understands the benefits and stuff of it. So, once she tasted that, she was like, oh, this is good. And I was like, yeah, it's so good for you. So she went straight into her computers, like looking up how to do. So she's going to start making it. So see what I mean? Like, I'm sitting at home, well, try kombucha, try this, try that. And so, anyways, I'm going to, the CHDX, I'm going to send that little video and say, why don't you watch this? And if you're interested, you know, but you can't look, the thing is like people don't understand about the censorship. So I'm just going to say, well, if you Google it, you're going to see a lot of danger, you're going to die. But I said, that's, you know, there's a bunch of alternative doctors saying something different, and I've been doing it, and I will testify that it is, it's good. It's like, fuck, Stella is, oh my God. And she's taking it every day, and as soon as I get back, I'm going back on it. And, because I only had the big blast of it, but that, it's, yeah, and I want to tell her about what happened about my lungs and stuff, because that really, and I feel so certain that that's what was bothering my lungs so much, was the mold and the mildew, and I had spores or something, and then that blast went in there and it killed them, or it settled them, or maybe it made them dormant. I'm not sure. Like, I can't say for sure that there's not something still in there growing and it's going to come back. Like, I don't know. So, I mean, there could be something, you know, that sits in there and gets triggered. That's the thing about a lot of these viruses, a lot of this stuff we have. And that's why people go through, like, an what is that called? Like you know, where, like an inflammation, like, they're fine, and then they have a big, something triggers it, and then they're in an MS, a lupus, a rheumatoid arthritis, some kind of big flame up. So, and then you have to ride it out, which that's the autoimmune dysfunction, is you're such an exaggeration in your body that it's like something that's simple, you ride it out for like 6 weeks, 2 months or something. And that's where they're like, well, take this and it'll make it better. And then you have a lot of people who go and get on that, like MS and stuff like that, and they go get on that, and then they think, oh, this is helping me. But really, if you just wrote it out, you would start to get better, unless it's your time to go. But most of these things, you just write them out, and then your body will go through. But you know, I can't say, you know, some of these can't walk and they're bedridden and they can't use their body and stuff, and they're laying there, you know, it could 6 weeks, could be 6 months. I don't know, but your body knows how to fix itself. It doesn't need that other stuff, and that other stuff causes a disruption. Even though it's helping us with this, it's breaking something else. So it's breaking other things in you while it's trying to get you to not deal with this other problem. So it just makes more problems, really. And really, what we need to do is, when we're in a flame up, a flare up, or something like that, is, you know, take your silence, take your time, because your body needs something to heal. You need to heal it. And so it's going to go through its process. So anyways, I just think that we are in a rat race that doesn't give us much time to ourselves. We don't have time. You know, I don't have time to lay in my bed for 6 weeks and get better. Well, that's why we need to change our lifestyles, because that's what we need to do. We don't need to run down there and buy some fucking shit out of a building. That, look up that word too. It's the pharmacia, whatever. Look up. It's like I don't know, witch doctor shit or something. It's all about tricking us. It's all about making us think that they're helping us when really they're not. So, let me think. Let me drink another. This is getting cold. Hold on. Pretty cold. So if I go warm that up, I'm gonna have to be getting them up. 7:21. There's a 17. Let's see. What else was I gonna say? But anyway, so I'm gonna leave her with that information, and then hopefully Um, the thing is like, I mean, 'cause she goes and looks stuff up. So if she goes and looks stuff up, it's gonna sound like, oh no, that's bad, it's scary and stuff. And that's the fucking problem with this fucking bullshit censorship. They don't give you the balance. They don't give you the good and the bad for you to figure it out. They give you bad, 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 bad. So then it's like, well, fuck. Google's doing the thinking for me, and they say no. And so it's like, well, no, we don't want Google or AI. And that's another thing, too, in the conversations. People are being very, like, the AI thing. Like, my niece and my daughter were talking about the ChatGPT, and I had no idea that, like, there's kids or people like their age are using it, I don't know, for companionship, for friendship. They're using it to take tests for them, to write papers for them and stuff. Like, people are going, you know, I don't have time to write this paper. ChatGPT, write my paper on stuff. So I don't know, there's a lot of weird shit going where they were like, AI is like taking over, like, and how manipulative and stuff. So anyways, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, with the manipulation. Yeah, when you are triggered, or when you are in the game playing range of life, you know, when you're in the toxic energy of like these toxic relationships and shit, then, you know, you got the one that's a narcissist, but then you have the other one that, you know, I played the role a lot of, the victim. And but the victim can be very manipulative because they are doing the same thing as the narcissist. They're just trying to survive. They're just trying to figure out how to stop hurting and shit. But we just go at it in two different ways. And that's the thing, is in our life, it depends on what the other person's playing, what brings that out in us. So you can be the victim with this person, be the narcissist with this person. You can be doing dual roles over here, and you don't even realize it, because you're inside of you, all you're feeling is your pain, and you're trying to, you know, get out of it, or you're trying to get people to do something you want them to do, or you need them to do. And so, but that's the thing, is when we get more real with ourselves, and we get more authentic, and we get more true, then we can see like, oh, we need to do this for ourselves. We need to not be trying to force others to do it for us and putting pressure and manipulating. And then when we get ourselves into focus, like, you need to be my focus, my emotions need to be your focus. Well, that's not fair to the other person, because they've got their own. That's why we all need to go independent. We all need to focus on ourselves. And then if I affect you, well, I'm sorry, but then we have to be in our own sovereignty. And then we have to also, you know, you're not going around trying to trigger people purposely, hopefully. But when you do have these things, and it's a real encounter, and you're being real, and you're being authentic, and you hurt somebody's feelings, or you make them feel bad or something, that's when you got to kind of be like, well, you know, I wasn't doing it on purpose. And some things are meant to happen. Sometimes we're supposed to trigger people. And then we're supposed to see ourselves, like, we trigger them and they are having their thing. Then we don't go in and start trying to fix them or tell them or whatever. Instead, we look at how we're feeling, you know, because that's our counterbalance. It's not to try and fix them and tell them how to feel and tell them what to do. No, it's for us to be able to see, like, oh, so you hurt their feelings. You looked at this. Were you trying to? Were you being mean? Were you, you know, it's just look at yourself in a deeper way. You know, what was my thing? What was I trying to get? What was I trying to do? And then you have to get to these certain terms of, like, you know, sometimes we're supposed to hurt each other's feelings, because that's what creates change. That's when we really start. I mean, geez, some of the things that people have said to me that hurt my feelings were the things that really drove me to make drastic changes. The one where my sister, all these years ago, because it was my first relationship that was, you know, my first marriage, and And it was, oh God, it was such a disaster. I was such a disaster. I was a disaster of a girl trying to go out there, you know. And I was still obsessed with Dickie. I mean, I had no business going and being with somebody else. Which, being in Dallas has just like brought up Dickie in my mind so much, but it was so weird yesterday because as soon as I went on YouTube to put this, one of the guys from his band, the video had popped up and they had just posted it. And I was like, that is so weird. I thought that guy was dead. Like, so I'm going through all these videos and I'm like, was it in a different reality? Is this a different guy in the band and he's using the other guy's Facebook or YouTube now? And maybe, I don't know. I have no idea because I don't really know that guy. I'm, you know, Dickie, but anyways, just being here, you know, and stuff like that makes me see things. But you're always supposed to see the things. You're supposed to be triggered and feel the things. But so, so what was I gonna say? So, the Dickie, being here. Oh yeah. Okay. So with the first one, and I was troubled, man. I was troubled. Like I couldn't understand it. I couldn't figure out this guy. It was like I never had known a man who didn't want to work. And my dad was a workaholic. My dad was a workaholic, and he owned his own business. So his friends were like millionaires. Were coming over to our house, which I know that has something to do with the cabal. I was telling them about that yesterday too. So we were out talking about Dad and his gangster days, but the cabal thing. Oh, because all of the people at his work, you know, like they were professional, they were engineers, and even his business was fire sprinklers. And so if you don't know what a fire sprinkler is, it's like, and it became a thing. And so when it became a thing, it was in all the buildings, you know, when you go in and they have the sprinklers up there for fires. So it has to do with safety and all this stuff. And so his business that he owned was big. I think it was one of the biggest ones in Dallas at the time, but it was union. So all the guys that worked there, they were, even the laborers, I mean, those guys were making like $30 an hour back then. So they were making bank. It was so all those guys were making shit a ton of money. They were all hard workers. All the guys in the office were all engineers and you know, these guys that go in and design and shit. And then there were sales guys, like it was all professional. And then I go and marry this guy. He didn't want to work. And I mean, it was like, it was really weird to me. And, but there were so many weird things. Like, it was so weird how much he pursued me, but then as soon as he had me, he hated me. And, it was so fucking mean. God, he was so mean. Oh God. And he was older than me, of course. And so, when we had split up, and I was just like, I was fucking a loop. I was stuck, man, in this loop. And I was just like going over and over and over. And just whining and whining and whining about, you know, victim, poor me, poor. And I don't even remember all the stuff I was saying. But my sister, at the time, we were kind of in alignment. We've not been in alignment. I think this is probably the only time through our lives where we were in alignment. And we were both, and this was my Hollywood era. This is when I started going out to Hollywood all the time. And we both were in the, but it was all my whining or whatever. And so, and I don't remember, because I was real scared to divorce him because he was, you know, wanted to murder me. And it was scary. And so then, it's so funny because all these things start coming into my mind. But so she had told me, I was whining about something. And she's like, will you shut up and quit whining? Either do something about it or shut the fuck up. God, big meaning. But that was something that marked me for my whole thing, my whole life. Then I started being like, yeah, don't just whine about it. do something about it or shut the fuck up. So I was like, yeah. But it took me, that took a while for me to get there. But that's the thing, is like sometimes people say things and, maybe she feels bad, like, God, that was kind of harsh. I doubt it. That's not my sister. But, you get to that's where you get to see yourself. Like, am I a really harsh person? Am I really outspoken? Am I really this? Am I really that? You get to reevaluate yourself all the time. But so anyways, those things that sometimes that people say to you are valuable. They aren't just like mean words and hateful things. It just depends on what you do with them. And, and my sister's been kind of mean a few times. So, but it is, you pocket it, you do whatever you want with the information. But anyways, that gave me some tools. It helped me. It helped me to see things different. And when I get stuck, then it's like, fucking shut up or do something about it. So anyways, that's the thing. That's what I gotta say about it. Let me think. So, that's what I need to be getting them up and telling them, come on, let's go. Because the traffic, like, fuck, man. And I want to get over there, because we went to the store yesterday, which we had to go, like, this is so funny, because we're in Mexico. I mean, not Mexico, we're in Texas, which is very, where it's a border town to Mexico. So it's like a lot of Mexican people, a lot of Mexican food and all that stuff. Which yesterday, one of the stores we went to, the dress I was wearing, a lady was wearing the same dress. I was like, what in the hell? That was so weird. And so so we had to go to a whole bunch of different stores because we couldn't find certain things. I was like, that is so weird, you'd think. But so we couldn't find any avocados though. They were either mush or they were hard as rocks. And so this will be the 4th store we'll try today while we're out. And then giant tortillas. Nowhere either. And so, but now she thinks she found them online at Kroger's. So we're going to stop at Kroger's on the way back and get some. But anyways, we had this big dinner plan that we were going to make. Then we went to the store and driving through the traffic, for fuck's sake, man. And then having to go to 3 stores, and we still didn't have them. So anyways, we're going to do our big dinner today, and we're going to make chili random burritos. So so I want to get over there, go visit, get the stuff, come back, and be here early afternoon so we can start cooking. So anyways, I want to get going because I don't know what the fuck with this traffic. Now also, we're leaving on a Monday, and we gotta go with this DFW is hellacious. That's what I gotta say about it. And and now we've got to drive through this fucking fuckery traffic and get over there to take the car back and then get to the airport, which once we get the car back, then it's by shuttles. They shuttle us back to the shuttle. It's like, this shuttle shuttles us to this shuttle, and that shuttle shuttles us over to the airport. So we got all these different things, and then you got to get there. And then DFW, we were walking through GEG, that's the Spokane airport, and it is just like, it's so mellow. It's like 2 people over there, it's like real mellow. Sometimes at certain times there can be a whole lot of people, but it's not anything like LAX, DFW, Denver. Is what, some of these airports are so ridiculous. And so that, we get off over here, it's like, man, you just walk out into chaos in DFW. So I don't even know what their TSA is going to be like, which it seems like kind of like, like we've got a lot of terminals. It's like terminal A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think it goes to E, but I don't think there's an F, but they're probably working on it. But we're at Terminal A, and that's American Airlines, so it's probably like B is Delta, C is South, it's probably like that. But anyway, so hopefully we just go to Terminal A, and it's its own, American, and they got their own TSA, and we just go through and get through. It's like, fuck, how do you do it with all these people? Man, just a TSA fucking over thing, and the GEG. It's like, it's ridiculous. And then the way they're all sitting there with their real ID, get your real ID. Oh, God. I swear to God, the fucking control and shit. And how people just don't even question it. Just comply, do what you're told. It's like, stop doing what you're told. Be a little rebellious. Stand up for yourself. Start looking at things like, what the fuck? Why do we need 3 motherfucking IDs? And what is this one gonna be, $100? And then, well, then you gotta get it every year, so you're gonna have to pay $100 a year. Well, that's a bargain. It's like, did you eat this year? Well, get your ID. So, I don't know, it's fucking bullshit. I'm so sick of this shit. I just can't wait. It seems so kind of vicious. I can't wait for this shit to go down. Especially when you don't even know what it's going to be. And then we get on the other side and it's be like, oh my God, I can't believe I was like pushing for this. I couldn't wait for it. And it's going to be traumatizing. That's what I think. I think it's going to be super traumatizing. I think it's going to be super devastating, whatever's going to happen. And if it's going to be the volcanoes, earthquakes, war, sky opening, ships landing, I don't know. The money transfer. The money transfer seems like it's going to be the good thing. Like there's going to be good things. That there's going to be something. And I don't know what it is. You know, surprise. It's probably not going to be the kind of surprise we like. It's going to be harsh. But it's what changes the world. So it's what we got to do. It's going to happen when it's going to happen because we're in a time of change and we got to go through it. And it's weird because we all came here. We knew before we came, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. But since we've forgotten, it's very intense. And even when you hear all the people talking about it, there's like so many different things. Well, it could be this, could be this, could be this. It's like, yeah, who knows? Like, I don't know. But all I know is that the good part is it changes our world. It changes our life. It changes existence. So, and we're not doing so great now. Like, fuck, man. Parents aren't parents. Moms aren't moms. Kids are getting just thrown to the wolves. Everybody's just so, it is almost like the whole world is narcissistic, but they don't want to face it. Everybody's just self-consumed in their own pain and suffering and blaming everybody else for it. You know, so we're just a toxic society, and it's just so much toxicity. So, oh yeah, and we were having fun last night, you know, watching movies and stuff. So they had put on these movies that, you know, a lot of people like the silly comedy things, you know, especially in the 90s. There were so many of them. So we were watching this one called The Euro Trip. And if I've ever seen it before, it's completely gone out of my mind. Like, I was looking at, like, I've never seen this. And so it was funny, but one thing is in the 90s, there was it's so crazy. It's like a girl would just walk in a room and her shirt would fall off. It's like, how many... It was any way that they could get to show boobs. Boobs. But in this one, it's also penises. It's got a lot of penises. And so they don't just go on the boobs. There's tons of penises too. But but it is just, it's so, I don't know. I don't think they do that as much. Now they try and make it like it's a little bit more, makes sense. But fucking hell, some of these movies, it's just like, it's absurd. So absurd. You know, the girls' shirts just fall off. They just stand around with no shirts on. It's just a bunch of boobs all the time. That's kind of like how we got started. Because it went from, you know, late night cable if you wanted to see some boobs. And then it turned into, you know, all these movies where, look, here's some boobs. Here's boobies. Look, boobs. It's like, so weird. So, anyways, we watched that one. And then we watched, some other one that was, 40-Year-Old Virgin. I hadn't seen that in a long time. There were so many things that I had forgotten about that. And it's always so funny how they sing the Age of Aquarius at the end in there. And my brother was like, I love it. And then other people were like, I've never understood it, which I never understood it either, that whole Indian girl lip dance. And there was like, oh, it's because it's the dawning of a new age, because now he's no longer a virgin and now he's out there banging out all the time. But I just always thought it was funny because that now we are in the dawning of a new age. This is the dawning of a new age. It's not just because we're not virgins anymore. It's because we're changing our life. We're making a new one. We're making a new world. So, anyways, it's time to. It's not the 7. It's not the 411. It's the 741. We got a 17 and a 41. So it's information time. I swear the 17 is some kind of a symbol in life, like in the gematria or something, like in the numbers talking to us. It's something. That number, I see it way too much. So 55505. No, 5505. So anyways, let's see. I think that was, we'll just wrap it up here. And then tomorrow, it should be, tomorrow's Sunday, so I should be able to get up and record, and everybody will be sleeping still. And then Monday too. I should be able to make time to come back and talk for a bit. But anyways, it's going good, and it really makes me see myself as my bitter old bitchy self. Oh, poor me, everybody's mean to me. So anyways, I'm over it. And I'm feeling good, and I'm having a great time, and it's just going great. Everything's great. Hopefully there's no earthquakes or volcanoes today. But the way the numbers keep going, I keep thinking everything's fine. And my mom said the dogs are doing great. Everything's going great. And so everything's going good. And I don't know, look at my hair. Let's see. I already feel like, is it all falling out? There's so much fucking hair falling out. I'm like, calm down all the time. So, which has got to be radiation frequency something. I don't know. It's the low frequency, the low vibration or something. So anyways, that's there. And my tooth last night I was looking, and it's so gray, of course, because I'm out going out. Couldn't be the white part. Oh, it's going to be the gray. So it looked like I got a rotten tooth. And it's like, no, it's really healing. And my daughter still thinks like, nah, it's not healing. You're crazy. Teeth don't grow back. It's like, well, you know, I'm hoping to prove you wrong. So we'll see, because I believe it's growing back. So we'll see. It doesn't feel, well, sensitive, like if I touch it. You know, I mean, it's raw. It's like growing shit, and it's grown shit on top of growing shit. It's not like it's had years. It's like it just keeps growing, and so it's, yeah, it's tender. It's hard to eat on that side still. So anyways, I think that's all. I think that's all I was going to say. So we're just going to end it here with, don't forget what I got to think about it, what I say about it, is what this is all about. What you can't go wrong doing is learning how to love yourself. And then loving everybody. Because nobody's, I mean, we're not really out to get each other like we think. We're really out trying to protect ourselves and defend ourselves. So the more that we can switch that energy and stop being so defensive and angry and upset and thinking everybody's out to get us, they're all trying to fuck us over. Get more in the, you know, everybody's feeling the same way. Everybody's feeling like abandoned and rejected, and nobody cares about me. I'm alone. Nobody understands me. You know, everybody's feeling it. Or they're feeling really sick and beat down. I think we're all going through it. And so the less that we come at each other, and the more that we just, you know, and then, you know, carry that energy of just being the role model. Like it's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay. We're gonna be okay. None of this is real. This is not real. Just remember that. We're in a game. Master this game. And in order to master it, I'm telling you, the way to get to the top is learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody, and how to have the day you want, because it is up to you. So anyways, talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.